Hello and welcome to the Team Draft Super League. I'm Steve Rubin. I'm joined here by Rich Hron. Now, after that last match, the second best player in Canada. How's it going, Rich?
Good. How are you? They've got the losers on here.
Yeah, I'm pretty good myself. My draft went okay. How about you?
It kind of went according to plan, except that there were no good cards open. So
Yeah, I mean, I ended up with a pretty solid deck, but I have no spell. I basically have no spells in my deck. I have 2 removal spells and 21 creatures, so that's not obvious. Obviously, that's not ideal. So
right, yeah, kind of matched up poorly against Mike's like crappy creatures and then a few flyers.
yeah, he's got like 3 of the 2/1 embalm creatures that kind of stunt the ground, and then eventually he kills me in the air, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, exactly.
And he got me caught in a tough spot with that Gideon. I needed to. I don't know exactly when the viewers saw, but in game 2, like I had a big decision whether I should throw away a binding mummy to essentially trade with Gideon, or if I should just wait and try to set up a big turn later to do so, and it ended up not working out for me.
Right, yeah. I think they saw that whole game, and that was an interesting decision point, but it looked like if the game just went long and he sat there with Gideon in play, it was going to be very, very hard for you to win, right? Like,
yeah, the one deciding thing was I knew that I passed him 2 Essence Scatters. I didn't have the deck list, but I figured like if I wait to if I play my Soul Stinger instead of my Blighted Bat that turn, I end up in a weird situation if he just passes with mana up and an Essence Scatter. Like I can never really, that window would close basically. So.
Yeah, and then the third game, your draw, mulliganed and didn't really play spells.
Yeah, so it goes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the second game was interesting. Like he did have the Jiru's Resolve in his hand the whole game. Kind of was waiting.
At the end, I knew I was dead to it, but there was nothing I could do because I was dead in the air anyway.
Yep, yeah, you had to go for it.
Yeah. So what happened in you and Alex's match? Just a quick recap because I didn't actually get to see that.
Okay, well, I don't know if you saw Alex's deck, but it's a bunch of just small creatures, and so both games he kind of curved out pretty well. The first game I didn't play a land on 3, so he just ran me over. The second game was closer. Like I had, I actually played spells and it was kind of back and forth. I had a couple decision points, a couple turns where I probably made bad blocks. Like there was one where I didn't play around Fling. I didn't really play around anything.
Yeah. It's kind of brutal. Now that we have the deck list out, it's kind of brutal to have to play against Alex's deck. I guess somebody on your team would have to, but for the first round, because, having Alex's deck list, I think is going to significantly help anybody play against him because he's got multiple flings and stuff like that. So it looks like it's 1-1 here, and we're going to see Mike Sigrist versus Mike Hron, the Mike mirror, so to speak. What do you expect from this match, Rich?
Well, so they're both on blue decks. They both have kind of solid decks. It looks like Mike's got some more, I should say, Sigrist has some more powerful cards, whereas Mike's kind of actually going to be the aggressor in this matchup, whereas he was kind of defensive in yours. But we'll see how it plays out. Yeah,
well, he does have a lot of resilient creatures, which can be kind of annoying for blue-red to deal with. I feel like if Mike just gets on the board. Mike Hron, gets on the board early with his elites and whatnot. Yeah. Okay. We should have this match up shortly. So are you going to Japan, Rich?
I'm undecided. We just had a baby 3 weeks ago. Actually won an RPTQ this weekend, but
nice.
I was qualified.
Double anyway. Congratulations for those, I suppose.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to get time away to go, but we'll see. My plan was
last time.
Where? Japan?
To Japan, yeah.
This would be like my 10th trip to Japan.
Okay.
I played like 6 Pro Tours and 2 Grand Prix there or something. So,
of course. I forgot about the Grand Prix. Did you win a Grand Prix with Mike and Hayne there? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Kyoto was Mike and Alex and I.
Nice. I'm looking forward to going to my first time for sure.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite places to visit, if only it weren't so very far.
It is very, very far. Just looking at my travel itineraries is kind of funny, but...
Yeah. So why aren't you guys playing Cleveland together?
Boyz,
that is.
Yeah, I guess Tom Martell asked Alex Hayne like super early, and them being very close friends. Alex said he would team with Tom. No big deal. So we ended up getting Joel Larson to fill up the Dem Boyz roster for Cleveland because he's going to be in America for GP Vegas. So it should be a good time. So are you teaming with Tom and Alex?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I know you guys aren't together.
Yeah. I don't know, for the team GPs, for those of you guys at home that don't really know, like it's people, Magic players notoriously are kind of procrastinators and don't plan very well. But for the team Grand Prix, people are very early on getting the premium people or getting your friends, so that you know the logistics of everything. So
yeah.
All right, looks like we're gonna go down to the match.
All right, here we are.
Looks like we have solid starts from both players. Potentially have a turn 3 Gideon from Mike. So Mike Hron, excuse me, I gotta be careful that in the Mike mirror. And he's on the play, so he's got turn 1 Sacred Cat. Likely will be able to, if he doesn't draw planes, he'll likely cycle his Shimmering Drake on turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
Mike's got a pretty control-y hand. Only 1 creature, so Gideon could be a pretty big issue if it does resolve on turn 3. Just seeing as Mike won't have enough creatures in play to ever really be able to threaten it, at least for now.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having some logistical problems. I can't see Sigrist's hand. Instead, I see you and me. Oops.
I think you can drag. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Aha. Where can I put them?
All right.
I see.
Siggy's going to have a Nimble Blade Karen play on turn 2, and we're going to see an end of turn cycle likely from. Oh, right. He can cycle the Jared as well, of course.
Right. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. That isn't going to be much of a game if Mike doesn't draw land in a hurry.
Yeah.
Although I guess it doesn't look like Siggy's putting a ton of pressure on.
He did draw the Aven, which is like his second threat, maybe a second fly or 2 as well. So it's not the worst. So if Siggy draws a land, I'd be pretty assuming he's going to cartouche up his
right. Yeah, get
his 1/3, and he can even if he wants to, he can Magma Spray the Labyrinth Guardian. It won't actually exile it because the trigger will resolve fizzling the Magma Spray, but that can get that off the board.
Although at this point, it will almost probably be better to Magma Spray the cat, because then you actually do get rid of the bomb, and he's not going to have blockers for the cat for a while, unless he's holding back the.
Yeah, good point. Let's see what he does. If he attacks, then he's definitely going to be planning on Magma Spraying something, I think.
Right.
If he doesn't attack, then he probably is going to be holding it.
And his hand's quite good, so I would expect he doesn't attack here. He's rather just set up to kind of play a longish game.
Yeah, he is set up for a long game, but at the same time, like if his opponent's missing land drops, there is he could maybe just try to shut the door before Mike Hron draws another land. Looks like he drew another Togclap Crop Skirmisher, which his deck is kind of full of. This might prompt a Magma Spray out of turn. No, he's going to be patient. Yeah. All right, I don't mind that play.
Yeah. Okay. So Mike, this is kind of a race to who draws a land first, but Sigrist is drawing 2 cards a turn. And so he should get there first. But even then, like, his hand is just a lot better than Atron's. Yeah,
and it's getting to the point where, if Atron actually draws a land, it's not even that good, I don't think. Well, assuming that Siggy has one, so.
Right, yeah, like Mike needs 3 lands to start casting those 3/4s. That's the only way he's really going to win this game.
Okay, and there's the 4th land from Siggy. He kind of weathered the storm with this Magma Spray too, so its value is actually almost going up because he can start casting 2 spells a turn if he wants, or start leveraging a window. If Hron tries to land a Gideon, he can be more aggressive against it.
Yeah, exactly. Or he can use it in combat at some point to do kind of more than just a little 1-for-1.
I think we're going to see an Aven initiate here, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Mike Sigrist is just going to sit there with his 2/4.
Yeah, and this is, I think, the last turn for Hron to draw land. Oh, I mean, he draws a land, so solid draw. Not a plains, but he'll take it.
Yeah, but all we can do really is just play another ground creature, which again just gets stalled by the nimble blade thing.
I mean, he could try to pass it or illusory wrap the Aven initiative, but I don't. I agree that playing the 2/4 is probably better.
Right, and that also kind of effectively moats him at some point because then he has to attack into the initiate, and that gives it back to Sigrist when he eventually draws lands. Because this game is going to go long, like no one's attacking, so.
Yeah, and eventually the Shimmering Scale Drakes are going to like hold, prevent the Aven and whatever ends up being cartouched from really attacking too good. But I mean, I guess Siggy he hasn't psychoed his Deem Worthy yet. He's I don't know. He's seen the deck list. He knows that the Shimmering Drakes are like the best threats. It makes sense for him to just wait. And with the Electrify and the Deem Worthy, he kind of has the Drakes covered. Yeah,
exactly. He drew probably the best card in his deck here, this Vizier. But unfortunately for him, there are basically no good creatures in either deck for him to copy.
Yeah.
Guess eventually he'll get a Drake.
Eventually it'll be a Drake, and actually it's interesting, like because that makes the he could potentially attack his Drake into another Drake. He's got a Magma Spray. He also has a Cartouche that could make his Drake a 4/5. So it actually is pretty good in this specific game, I think, eventually.
Yeah, it looks like this game's going to go for a while, but Hron has basically no chance to win.
I mean, I actually, since my match was so long, I haven't gotten a chance to look at deck lists. I should probably pull up his deck list. I just know from playing 3 long games against him.
Right, exactly. You've got an idea of most of what he's got.
But beyond the Drakes, like what are his other threats exactly? He does have an Aven Initiate.
Yeah, he's got the 2/2 rare embalm guy. So when he embalms another guy, he can start having an unblockable attacker, but that just gets eaten by the Magma Spray.
Yeah.
All right, now it's
I actually
time
like this.
Attack.
I like this.
Yeah, he had to do something eventually.
I suppose he can just flash. He can just embalm one of the elites if it dies.
Right. Yeah.
He could also potentially post combat wrap the 1/2/4 prowess, but that'll be
that doesn't do anything, right? Because it just becomes a 1/3.
Oh, it becomes a 1/3 with 2 damage on it. Yeah, no, you're right. I forgot that the enchantment.
Yeah, I considered that briefly too.
Yeah. Also, he knows that Mike has a Magma Spray in his deck, which makes it even worse. So.
But still, I mean, from here, so I guess he's going to get 4 damage in, and one of the elites is going to get Magma Sprayed. It's not so bad. I mean, he kind of has to do something, but then what's Mike going to do with the rest of his mana? Maybe he is going to wrap the Initiate.
Yeah, if there's a trade, then I think.
Right, then he'd rather embalm one of the 2 ones.
He's going to embalm, yeah. And this looks like kind of a bad trade for Siggy with his 2/1 on the Embalmer, but he knows that Mike is stuck on mana and has a bunch of expensive spells in his hand. So, if Mike Hron, is ever embalming, it's a pretty good deal for him, and he's gonna take the minimum amount of damage he could here on this attack. I think by making
right. Yeah, I think he knows his hand is good, so he just wants to make sure the game goes longer. Also, the Pathmaker Initiate is really never going to do anything. He's never going to be in a position to give something unblockable, and Hron's always going to have those little ground creatures to block it. So
yeah, all of his creatures have 3 power or flying. So
so
we're going to see embalm, and yeah, now you can kind of see that Hron's really far behind on board. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Sigrist can really go aggressive now if he wants.
Yeah, Siggy's probably going to play the Crasher and just make the 2/1 can't block. And
try to draw land first with this Cartouche, getting a little greedy. Yeah,
it's a little greedy, but it's also a situation where he can kind of afford it, right? Because he's pretty far ahead. Yeah. It's not a bad play to give his lizard flying either way.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, and it's basically game over when he hits.
Yeah.
So I mean, that attack didn't work out great for Mike, but there wasn't really much else he could have done there.
He could even set up lethal here by not attacking with the Crasher and then like cloning it next turn and double crashing.
Yeah, that's interesting. That looks like
because he's thinking about not attacking with it.
The old pre-combat haste creature, no attack with it. Well considered play.
A little trigger happy, Siggy. I think it's probably right to attack it.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, again, it's worth considering, even though
he can still clone it. Before he
played it. Yeah,
and that 2/4 is going to be untapped next turn probably as well. Well, I guess Siggy's creatures fly other than the
yeah, exactly,
the guy. So it's going to be.
All right, so Mike goes to 9. Ideally, he can just play a Drake here. Nope. So
you can play
Gideon.
He just has not a single good play. Yeah.
Yeah, like he can basically play Gideon and gain 10 life with it or something, but then still just way behind on board. Like Sigrist might not even bother attacking the Gideon.
Yeah, I don't think he will. We'll see though.
Right, yeah. It almost just doesn't matter at this point. Oh, Mike's trying to make a race of it. Ooh, another mythic rare. Must be nice.
Yeah, I was pleased when Siggy was like, yeah, I drafted blue-red and my deck's fine, and I just opened Vizier and Curator in the last 2 packs. All right. Yeah. It seems like some of these team drafts, the power level's been so weak in the TDSLs that just opening a rare is just so good. It's like better than normal almost.
Right, yeah, it's interesting because in team drafts, like kind of when team drafts was very popular, then like the packs now are kind of more even. All the cards are equal in quality, where there are some super rares where back in the day there would be like 6 to 8 playables per pack, and then you'd sometimes just end up, if you kind of got in the wrong colors behind someone else in the same colors, you'd end up with like 18 playables just because enough. Whereas now, like, there's all these 2/1s and 1/2s, and everything's kind of borderline playable, and it almost doesn't matter if you get in the wrong colors.
Mm-hmm. And then you get the whole second pack to kind of, exactly. Rehook the person on your right, which, if they were wavering even a little bit, is kind of makes it even. Obviously, you don't want to be behind somebody in the same colors as you, but looks like Mike Siggy takes it down. Let's see how they sideboard. Looks like at least my sideboard basically has nothing in it. We'll see if these players have much. There's a cancel.
Yeah, the cancel's probably good here in the blue mirror, but
he might side up the Ancient Crab. Yeah, he actually does, because Siggy's got a bunch of flyers.
Mm-hmm. What else is there? The Seeker of Insight's coming out. That's actually interesting. Like,
yeah, maybe
he doesn't feel like he really needs the blocker, but it blocks pretty well against all of these.
Yeah, he put it back in. Well, we'll see what they do, I guess.
Yeah, the illusory wrappings came out because there aren't really any good targets for that.
Yeah, there's just the Serpent basically, and I guess the Curator. It could be okay, but
yeah. There's like a few True Heart Twins, another big creature, but.
Looks like we have Hron looking at the deck list.
Yeah, might as well, I guess.
Yeah, why not? All right, we're going back into the game here. Siggy up a game, so Hron will be on the play here.
So Siggy's hand is great if he finds a mountain. It's kind of, you probably have to keep it because you get a cycle and another draw. Whereas Mike's basically as good as he can get. He just needs.
Yeah, that looks like a great hand to me from what I've seen in his deck. I mean, he's in the same spot. He needs any land though, which is obviously a bit better.
Easier, yeah.
Mike is on the draw, which kind of washes it out, but the fact that he probably has 6 more islands in his deck makes this kind of awkward. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm. This might be Hron's best chance of winning if Mike just never finds a mountain and gets run over.
Yep. All right, looks like he drew a Skirmisher. Let's see what 2-drop he plays. Probably
a lot of
Lab Guardian.
Yeah, I think so.
It attacks through most of Siggy's 2-drops, and then he can play the Skirmisher defensively, like against an opposing 2/1. Play the Skirmisher first.
Yeah, and the Guardian fights through Sigrist's removal best, like whether it's because his cheap removal is Magma Spray, but Sigrist draws the mountain, and now his hand is excellent. Basically, he's got a great curve and everything else. And Atron's the one with bricks.
Atron again missing land here. Wonder if he will try to cycle this turn.
I think he probably does another creature and try to keep the pressure on.
Yeah, because he knows that Siggy's got enough removal and bombs that like the late game is going to be good for him. So yeah, good call.
And the other thing is that like even if he finds land, the card he's playing isn't that much better than another one of his 2-drops.
Yeah, and he has to hit like land for it to be
exactly
good, because then he can double 2-drop, which is what I'm thinking. But it's not, you know, I like this play. It's definitely right.
Yeah.
All right, and Siggy does have a Thresher Lizard in play, and looks like Atron again missing on a land drop.
Again, so he's going to play another 2-drop and just try to keep up the race. Oh, he's kind of taking a more defensive posture. So that maybe he'll cycle now. No, okay.
Yeah, I think he's kind of committed to playing creatures out every turn and just hoping he draws a land.
Right, to keep going.
It's at the point where, like, you know, you spend one turn playing a creature and then you spend one turn cycling. It's almost, I don't know, it doesn't really sit well, because
right.
Either you end up
still play a creature if you drew a plains. But
yeah. I think so. He had a pretty efficient turn 4 playing his own skirmisher with a cartouche, which now is a threat that Atron can't deal with at all. Like, he can forsake the cartouche, but
right, but yeah,
obviously not ideal. Really, once again, just he needs a land every turn of every game. He just needs a land, apparently.
Yep, that happens a lot in this format. Kind of because there isn't a whole lot to do with extra lands. You're kind of forced to play like 15, 16 land decks, and then this happens a decent amount.
Yeah, you have a bunch of cyclers, so you play down, and
But it's also a fast format, so you don't necessarily have time to cycle, as we see in this game.
Yeah, I think a lot of players realize after a while that cycling isn't nearly as good as it looks. You know, I think when I first started drafting, at least, you know, like the cycle of like 1-mana cyclers like Desert Ceradon and Winged Shepherd and Horror of the Broken Lands, like I thought those cards were great, but the more and more I play the format, I realized that they're just bad. You know, you basically don't want them in your decks unless you have cycle synergy.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I've kind of got to the point where I'm just like quite happy playing those cards and just playing another land, like playing 17 land, not trying to be a little greedy. And then, because I do find for the most part, the games tend to go a bit longer, and then you get to play them out. But
yeah, I definitely think that they're playable. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they shouldn't make your deck. I'm just saying that I've been like cutting them a lot more than I was when I started the draft format. Siggy's got a bunch of options here still, because he can kind of he can play two 1-drop or 2-drops, which allows him to start using the Pathmaker aggressively. His other line was to maybe try to set up a double Crasher for next turn, but Atron's just so stuck on lands that he can just wait and do it later. There's no reason for him to rush. Any of this chip damage adds up, and you know he still has to deal with the 4/3 flying Thresher Lizard at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And the Pathmaker gives him another unstoppable damage source, because Mike can't effectively race, or Atron can't effectively race, and yeah. So he can just sit there and kind of play out his hand. It almost doesn't matter what he does, but here we are.
Okay. Don't actually have Atron's hand cam anymore, I don't believe.
Yeah, I think we're not hitting the 7th card.
We're a few turns behind. I'm assuming that I think that he might just not be able to win the game at this point. Especially, I mean, this just like last game, this might be the turn where this, you know, no land means there's just no chance.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure if we did. He might just have drawn his 2nd Renewed Faith, or oh no, we lost the cam. Okay.
Yeah, looks like he did draw a land. So we can't see the hand, but I think he has to try to forsake Worthy.
Right.
He's just gonna die, you know, to the Thresher Lizard. Looks like that's his plan. Can't exactly remember what the grip was there.
Right, and it looks like that's going to work too, because there's no way Sigrist isn't going to attack. but it's still, he's getting effectively 3 for 1, I guess, because the
it's not pretty.
But
let's see how aggressive Mike wants to get. Looks like he's going to.
Is he going to unblockable it with?
He's going to unblockable it, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know if he's going to exert or not. Probably will.
Go either way.
Yeah, it doesn't really change that much because he can just, if he exerts it, then he can make the other 2-1 unblockable next turn.
Right, that's true. Although next turn he could also be setting up the gate crasher or the crasher attack.
Yeah, looks like we have the Forsake. Gonna see a block on the Thresher Lizard. I wonder how many creatures he blocks with. I don't think he can play around much at this point.
Right. Yeah, playing with multiples is really just giving Sigrist the choice of what he wants to kill.
Yeah. Looks like he's definitely thinking about it. Yeah, just the Skirmisher. I mean, the Thresher Lizard without the enchantment on it is almost not irrelevant, but it's not that worth. It's not, like you said, it's not worth it at all to
Sigrist probably
throw away extra resources when he's so constrained.
Right. All right, so he's drawn a couple lanes in a row. So let's see if he can fight his way back into this game. But being blue-white, he doesn't really have a way to stop the Pathmaker Initiate.
Yeah, and Siggy's hand is also just great.
Yeah.
So he's going to play 2 creatures here. Does Siggy have lethal? 5, 6, 7, 8? No. Siggy can put Hron to 1 with a Pathmaker in play.
Although, does the True Heart Twins get him there? Not quite.
Yeah.
But it means the Entangler can attack for 4.
Yeah, he did draw a land, so he might continue to play it a little bit slow and play the True Heart Twins here. I don't think he can really. All of his options are good.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So there's no reason for him to kind of make a super aggressive attack to copy the Gatecrasher. But yeah.
Because if he does copy the Gatecrasher attack, he can make, he can leave the Sacred Cat, so worse, he's only going to lose 1 of the Crashers. Obviously they're going to be tapped, but that's just still kind of like a time bomb for 2 turns later when it untaps. True Heart Twins is a good play too. He can attack unblockable for 2 or even 4 damage this turn if he wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. And then do the big exerted attack next turn where every creature is lethal. If he copies.
Yeah, Hron does have Essence Scatter, so maybe there's just some consideration to playing the clone now.
That's true.
Even though the clone is good against
Essence Scatter. Flashback, yeah.
So maybe then it's better to play the True Heart, but looks like
I think that's what I would do here.
Yeah, Siggy's in that great position where you're so far ahead that you have to really slow down because you don't want the game to slip away from you.
Yeah, there are no bad options, but you got to figure out what the real right one is. Yeah,
the one is like the perfect cards that Hron can have to get him back in the game. So Siggy kind of tanking over this decision to play his Vizier or True Heart.
Probably checking Mike's deck list in the process.
Of course.
Eventually going to realize Mike has no outs if he takes a little slow.
Yeah, the True Heart, I like it too, because then next turn, he's going to exert 4 creatures in 1 turn.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the next turn is just a huge swing, and this turn isn't even that bad. He can just punch for 2 or 4. Both are fine.
Right, yeah, because he would lose the exertion on the Entangler next turn. Although it's probably better just get in for 2 because then he's got a trample. Because he could even just copy the True Heart Twins next turn and then attack with a bunch of 10 power creatures. Yeah,
if he waits on the exert, then the bonus from the True Heart Twins will be more relevant when his Entangler is not unblockable, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think that Hron is very likely to just die next turn no matter what, though. I have not actually done the math in my head.
No. It seems like someone's doing it because they're taking their time, but
yeah, like I said, it's almost like it's just you always remember those games that you were so close to win, like you were so far ahead and then you lose that. Then like later when a lot of players when they get in this situation, they're trying to not make sure they really shut the door when they have the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, attack and in for 2.
Yep. Looks like just like you predicted. Siggy puts Hron to 7, and Mike has managed to draw 3 lands in a row, but it was too little too late, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's going to just play a skirmisher and maybe try to leave mana up to represent some sort of trick, or they'll just tap out.
He does have 1 Winds of Rebuke, but even if, which kind of could, if he held that up and Siggy played Vizier, it's not even like you can like fizzle the clone. Like he could bounce. I guess he doesn't even have it, but he could threaten to bounce the haste guy. But Siggy just copies True Heart Twins. So I think pretty likely we're gonna just see a Shimmer Scale Drake and then a lethal attack follow up.
Yep.
Looks like Mike is also gonna think over, what you just said, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we got in the same situation when I was playing against Alex, where everyone watching the stream knew I was dead, but I had to think about my blocks for 5 minutes when he attacked with. Actually, it was a bunch of creatures with the True Heart Twins.
Yeah.
All right. So this turn should go fast. Mike tapped out. So now Sigrist can copy either the Crasher or the True Heart Twins. Either way, he's going to attack for lethal.
Yeah, there's going to be 4 exerts, so all the creatures are going to be +4/+0, and Hron only has 3 blockers versus 7 attackers.
Yeah, a lot of power.
So that's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much. It's over 20, though, I think. Because he's going to block 3 creatures.
Yeah. It's definitely over 7.
Yeah. All right, and there we have it. Looks like Mike Sigrist has defeated Mike Hron in the Mike mirror to put us up 2-1. We'll see if this other match is still
right. It sounds like
lingering.
Hron is up a game in the other match too. We'll see if we can get over there to watch the end of that one.
All right. All right, we will get over there in a minute, and kind of expected maybe with Hain's fast deck for them to be done already, but that last match didn't take that long, even though there were a lot of one of the matches where there were a lot of decisions on every turn. Pretty much every turn, both Mikes had do I play this creature or that creature, even though it wasn't
right. They're often limited by their land.
Thing. Yeah, like every single turn they had to decide whether they wanted to cycle or whether I wanted to magma spray this or not. So it's kind of interesting to see those every single turn to see the accumulation.
Kind of Hron was kind of behind the whole time in both games, but he also had to figure out his best chance to kind of fight through it. Like in the first game, he decided that was to make kind of an all-out attack one turn, and it didn't go particularly well. It didn't go particularly poorly. It went about as expected, and then
Siggy had a magma spray, which made it wasn't catastrophic for him. It was just fine. I really like what he did in game 2 though. Hron just deciding to play out two drops every turn. Lots of people might be tempted, frustrated, stuck on mana, but Siggy's creatures in his blue-red deck actually, like his 3 and 4 drops can't block or couldn't block like Hron's 2 drops. So Hron just played more 2 drops every turn. Didn't work out because he never drew the land, but he put himself in position definitely to win that second game.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If Sigrist stumbled a little, if it took him a little while to find that mountain, but as it was, he found it immediately and yeah, curved out quite well. All right, so it sounds like Yelger has tied it up with Hron, and we'll try to get over there before they start game 3.
All right, we'll have a game 3, and I haven't actually had a chance to look at Yelger's deck. I will do that.
Let's see.
I know that he has Decimator Beetle, I think. I don't know if it's in his deck or not.
He has a Decimator Beetle in his pool. I also do not know if it's in his deck or not.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, Younger. Looks like he's got. Looks like he is splashing it. Looks like off of a Evolving Wilds in a forest. He's playing a white-black deck. Looks like not really a zombie deck, just kind of a mid-range deck. He's got a lot of removal. He's got it's kind of like we had 2 white-black drafters at the table, and they kind of both soaked up half of the deck. You know, Yelger has all the removal, and I have
all the
a lot of the zombie synergy cards, which is kind of what happens, you know, because like for instance, when I saw like Lord of the Accursed and stuff like that, and Wayward Servant, you know, I often had to take that card over like a card like Final Reward, and Yelger, I guess, ended up with those removal spells, which is good against Hane's deck. I think having a lot of cheap removal, like 2 compulsory arrests, being able to just stem the bleeding and potentially blow out any of the enchantments.
And just cheap creatures in general, like the Festering Mummy, for example, would be fantastic against him. Yeah, and
it's not like cards like Decimator Beetle and Blighted Bat, obviously not great in the matchup, but if he can kind of hold the ground, he can probably finish Hane off. Okay. And we should get into the game in a minute here. They're telling the players to hold and whatnot, and we're going to go in and see what's up. Yeah, Youngers deck looks pretty good, actually. He has a Lord of the Accursed. He's got Gustwalker, Gravedigger, start to finish. Definitely more quality cards than I do in my white-black deck. But so it happens. I mean, I didn't see any of those cards, and he didn't see any of the cards that were in my deck for the most part. So,
right, I feel like his individual cards are probably more powerful than yours, but you have a lot of the zombie synergy that he doesn't have. So,
yeah. All right, we both have feather pools.
Yeah. All right, so here we go with game 3.
All right, don't know who exactly is on the play. Looks like Yelger has a hand with no white source and not the greatest anti-aggro hand. Interestingly enough, it looks like he's got 2 Blighted Bats, and Alex Hane has a Blazing Volley in his
those
hand.
Do not match up well against Alex's draw.
Yeah, I know that during deck building, Alex was asking us, should I play the Blazing Volley? Because he does have the Soulscar Mage, which is kind of the 2-card combo, but we figured that you guys had the green decks. Turns out there's only
just the one.
Just the one. So we thought that Blazing Volley wouldn't be great if you had creatures with high toughness. But really good start from Alex, and he did draw an Unwavering Initiate, so he has a pretty brutal curve. Looks like Yelger is going to need to draw planes, like almost, maybe not right away, because the compulsory arrest actually doesn't line up that well against any of Hane's creatures, right?
Exactly.
He drew his 3rd Blighted Bat. Interestingly enough,
here, so he's choosing to cycle the Fetid Pools instead of play it and try to play defense with his Blighted Bats. He's really hoping to find that plains here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he already had the 2 swamps, and he very likely wasn't playing anything on turn 2. So it ends up his plan is working so far. I mean, he's got to see if he can find the plains. But now he drew a Sacred Cat as well, and it's just, man, this Blazing Volley is going to be pretty sick, I think.
Yep, and he drew the other half of the combo, the
yeah. Doesn't have a second red yet, but doesn't really matter if Yelger's creature's all
do it over a
toughness.
couple turns. Okay, here we go.
Nice. Actually, Yelger's decision paid off because he ended up drawing planes as the last possible card.
So he'll probably play a bat here. Now he's going to try to get him with the start to finish. Maybe try to pick off the fan bearer.
Mm-hmm.
But I suspect Alex will see right through that, although it doesn't matter now that he's drawn the Deem Worthy.
Yeah, and he might even fire in and make Yelger try to go for the block. I mean, obviously you don't want to Deem Worthy on start to finish, but he's pretty far ahead. Looks like he's going to just attack with. He's going to. Pump fake with the fan bear. Love it. We're going to attack with just those guys.
So Yelger's still committed to the start to finish now.
Yes.
Try to trade.
So he's probably going to try to trade for the unwavering.
But Alex actually did.
Alex is not going to let him. Okay.
He didn't play a land first, which would have opened up the Deem Worthy, but that's. And he chooses to tap Mike's blocker, or Yelger's blocker, which actually is going to work out great for him because of the Blazing Volley.
Yeah, interesting sequence too, because if Yelger draws another land, he's very likely to just play Bat or Secret Cat and just get Plague Winded here.
Bats and cats. All right.
So you do Festering Mummy, and I guess
still going to get Plague Winded, but he's going to do something with it.
Yeah, he's going to be able to shrink, I guess.
Right, one of the.
It doesn't even matter because his follow-up creatures are so bad at blocking.
Yeah. And even his Caravan, should he get to it eventually, is still going to tap down. Yeah,
I think Yelger's just dead next turn, probably. This is going to be 5-7 damage. 8 if he attacks with the Fan Bearer, so he can either put him to 4 with the Fan Bearer untapped. Oh, right, the Festering Mummy, so it's going to be 1 less, actually. It's going to be probably 6 damage. I'm assuming Alex is going to leave the Fan Bearer back.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
Yelger,
worthy to kill whatever Yelger plays, so he might want to get the extra 2 points.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I don't know exactly if there's anything he wants to save the Deem Worthy for. Now that he's got 7 mana, he can deal with a card like Supply Caravan that would halt him. So
right. Also, Yelger's just dead next turn, so
yeah, I mean,
probably get the extra point in.
Yeah, he's assuming Yelger just goes creature. Yelger would need like a Splendid Agony not to die here, but even then, I think he's still drawing dead.
Yeah, this is going to be a quick one.
He does have the cat, so like I think if he draws a land, he's not technically dead on board, but...
True. Which actually, I guess, is a good reason to hold that Fan Bearer back, but...
Yeah.
We are.
But yeah, that prowess trigger means it's just...
It's still lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah, kill the cat, attack with... Yeah, so that's still lethal. It doesn't even need to draw a land to top the other blocker.
So he has to not cycle the Deem Worthy because that doesn't trigger prowess. He has to actually hard cast it. Be careful.
Figure it out.
Yeah. All right. I would expect him to figure it out. I would expect myself to accidentally cycle there and Alex to make the right decision.
Yeah, but you just draw a land and tap the bat, so...
Yeah. That is sharp dagger there, but I can't. Looks like Yelger's going to try to block.
Considering his blocks, yeah.
Yeah, weighing his options. 2 power, 3 power, doesn't matter. And Alex wins the match, goes to 2-0, and puts us to 3-1 here in the Team Draft Super League. Looks like, what do we have next round? I think I'm playing Yelger? Oh, yep. I'm playing Yelger on camera, and it's going to be Alex Hain and Mike Hron in the booth. And then you're playing Siggy on backup.
All right.
So there's going to be a white-black mirror. Interesting that I don't think my deck is actually very grindy. So...
You're going to need a good start.
I'm going to need a good start, yeah. And we'll see what happens. It might come down to who draws more lords. Okay. All right, and I guess that's it for us.